Costa del Crime, created by the British underworld. Written by Stu Armstrong. Narrated by Richard Linford. By the late 1970s, Spain had become the most popular foreign destination for UK holidaymakers, and increasingly the residency of choice for expatriates looking to tan their bodies and knock back cheap booze. Discount flights, guaranteed sun, and locals with a warm welcome and a willingness to speak English, combined with an increasing UK subculture of traditional pubs, Sunday roast dinner, fish and chips, and warm ale, made Spain a magnet for Brits, and especially the Costa del Sol. The region became to many in the UK what the Caribbean became to some in the US, a bolt hole that was close enough to endure the flight, but far enough away to add that exotic magic fairy dust to a break. But with that boom came a less welcome element. In 1978, a century-old extradition treaty between the UK and Spain expired, and there was suddenly little or no chance of fleeing British criminals being sent home to face trial. The Spanish coast was seen as a safe haven, so the crooks took to the sky and then to the sun. British gangsters, stick-up artists, grifters, hitmen, thieves and pimps increasingly saw the Costa del Sol in the southeast of Spain as a means of escaping the grey skies of Britain, and more importantly, the grey walls of the prison yard. The Costa del Crime was born. Prior to 1978, the Costa del Sol was the place to be if you were rich or famous, or just wanted to be seen. Movie stars such as Stuart Granger and Sean Connery, society hostess Gunilla von Bismarck, and wealthy arms dealer Adnan Khashoggi all flocked there. It was a sun-scorched playground for celebrities, wannabes, and those with a hefty bank balance. When the treaty lapsed, this changed. As David Baird, the man who coined the term Costa del Crime, said, Brits on the run began buying property in the late 1970s and early 80s, flaunting their ill-gotten gains and frequenting the top night spots. Hitmen, conmen, and bank robbers rubbed shoulders with bullfighters and aristocrats. Although only a relatively brief period in Anglo-Spanish relations, the extradition loophole was plugged in 1985 and a new treaty signed in 2001, the Costa del Crime became synonymous with some of the UK's most notorious criminals, as they publicly thumbed their noses at the British authorities. Safe in what Rob Hogan, then of the Olive Press, Spain's leading expat newspaper, called a gangster's paradise, the list of criminals who took refuge in Spain was long. Among them were London gangster and nightclub owner Ronnie Knight, who spent 11 years hiding out on the Costa del Sol. So cocky was he about evading the law that when he married his third wife in Spain in 1987, the wedding cake was in the shape of a prison. He was finally arrested and jailed for his role in a multi-million-pound armed robbery in 1994. Brown-bread Fred, real name Frederick Foreman, a henchman of two of the UK's most notorious gangsters, the Kray twins, fled to Spain in the 1980s. He'd disposed of Jack the Hat McVitie's body after he was killed by Reggie Kray. John Goldfinger Palmer, who was at one time arrested but subsequently cleared of being involved in the Brinks-Mat robbery, during which £25 million in bullion, diamonds and cash was stolen from a warehouse at Heathrow Airport in 1983, had property in Spain. He was killed by a Spanish hitman in 2015. By the early 1980s, over 100,000 Brits had a first or second home there, and as Duncan Campbell of The Guardian points out, by the time the extradition loophole was closed in 1985, the area was established as the bit of Europe that fell off the back of a lorry. But 1985 didn't signal the end of the Costa del Crime. The Spanish constitution prohibits retrospective laws, and as such, the treaty did not immediately affect any UK suspects living it up in Spain. They knew they could easily fight any attempt to force them back home. The only downside was that they also knew if they left Spain, even for a single day, they could, on return, face immediate extradition.